Here we go. Go live. Our first duty is to you guys.
Our second duty is having the coffee.
Right?
Our third duty is make sure Stuart's always got appropriate L cards on. It's a duty that Stuart has in his soul, ladies and gentlemen.
Something like that, yeah. Anyway, Olivia, $2. Remember, a like a day keeps the Sam away.
I mean, how many likes do we have? So I guess got to be away for at least like a minute per like. What are we at?
We got 8 likes.
Okay, goodbye. It's so mean. It's not as... maybe just the way you said it. Your Canadian chipper just sounded so mean.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There we go. There's the Canadian. Other.
Sorry, eh?
Sorry.
All right. How is everybody today? Hope you're well. It is Thursday. It is TNG review time again, and we're back with the first duty. Mm-hmm. Nick Locarno, don't you know? I swear he looks just like Tom Paris. Do you see it?
What?
Or do you not see it?
I mean, he's tall. Is that what you mean?
They're like identical.
I mean, he's got, you know, the chin I could see. Well, I don't know what you mean.
Well, Ray Lavi throws in $5. The first duty is to say Kailash. There you go.
Canon. Just like they did in the show.
And I'm wearing a Union Jack today. Woohoo. Your flag and all that, see?
So we should go back again, but like get like a spy camera, put on your lapel so you get to take video and not be crucified for it, Stuart. In case no video allowed.
I took video anyway. It's in my captain's log.
Yeah, I know, it's clever. I remember.
Anyway,
that's a whole in joke.
Yeah.
Yes, Tunge. And it's funny. I remember this episode especially nowadays for Trekyards because this conversation in the thumbnail is now a hypocritical conversation in the sense we've looked at other speeches by Picard where he sometimes says your duty as a Starfleet above all else, always go Starfleet, or your duty is the truth and that above all else, or duty to yourself and above all that. It variates between, and like they're mutually exclusive in you feel the rawness of it. But this one I remember being a little bit different than I thought it was. I thought it was a bit more. So you said you should always tell the truth. There's another one he says due to the uniform and Starfleet and believe in Starfleet, and it's like, well, what about the times you don't believe in Starfleet? Because it's situational, Patrick. Situational.
Yeah, and I want to go into this one just right now. Hashtag Locarno did nothing wrong. I would have done the exact same thing he did.
Oh dear.
And spoilers, they get off at the end with a reprimand and lost their flight status, but it was it. Wesley, he had to have a good rapport with Picard, unfortunately.
Much good it helped him in his future. All those wonderful adventures in Starfleet. Really, really threw away Locarno's. You know, hey, but at least Locarno made a Genesis planet of some kind. You know, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my take on it.
So basically, this is your insurrection. Where you go against the message of it. So I believe insurrection, Picard's wrong, and in this one you think Locarno's right.
Not necessarily right, but with the amount of evidence they had on them, I just would have said fine. Sure, it's a shitty position for Wes to be in because Picard knows the truth. That he could glean that none of the investigators at the Academy could figure out, which just makes me cringe as well. But that's all right. There's a lot to talk about with this one. Let's put it that way.
See you in a second.
All right. 29 of you here, 17 likes. Hit that like button, guys. You know you want to. Also, super chat in with your thoughts, comments about this episode. It is a good one. Now it ties in with the Lower Decks episode, which is also awesome. So we'll have a lot to talk about and discuss. And like I said, I've sort of been in situations like Nick before where there was no evidence, and I just, all right, haha, you think you know what happened, but it's not exactly how I did it, or whatever, you know. So anyway, we'll talk about all that when we go through this. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell icon to get notified every time we upload. We always have Saturday videos and many lives throughout the week. So join us. Don't miss anything. And if you want to be part of the fleet, there's a join button. You can have your name in lights, as it were, at the end of each edited video in our fleet video. And you can also join us over on Patreon/Trekyards if that's another way you want to do that. Same ranks, privileges, and perks, and all that will apply over there. So go check that out. Also, if that's what you're more preferred, if you prefer Patreon. You can PayPal us too at trekyards@hotmail.com if you want to support us that way. That's another way to do it. I rarely mention that, but it's a thing you can do. Also, don't forget to check out the links down below. There are links to the Teespring and the TeePublic store. We got some really cool Trekyards merch, so check it out. Go get some and wear it proudly. You know? All right. So, this will be a fun conversation for sure today. Hold on. I just got to do something real quick here. Turn that on. Yes. Okay, yeah. What the heck? All right, so there you go. And Donnie gives it a 10 out of 10, says Ozzy. Already.
Donnie gives it an 11 out of 10.
Dan Ben says, do you have the model that Eagle Moss of the Academy Training Starfighter? I do not.
I mean, I got it as part of the collection, so yes.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks for many years in my hands. It's good.
Nice.
It's a nice one.
And Chuck A, $2. Boothby to Picard. What happened to your hair? Well, yeah.
Canonized it right there. Again. How many times I have to canonize that he had hair at the Academy? I guess continuously. All the time. Every episode.
Yeah.
But bald is a choice. I mean, he could obviously go in and out of having hair.
Sure. Maybe he got hazed. And that picture of him at the Academy from...
Face transplant, yeah.
Nemesis. Well, yeah. He was just... Anyway, regardless.
So, Stuart, what do you think of TNG Season 5, Episode 19, The First Duty? And did you like it back in the day?
I did like it back in the day. Yes, absolutely. Now, I like it for different reasons, but I see all the flaws in it. It feels, like I said, the investigation seems lackluster at best. Saying they had no evidence when they had evidence of the new formation that they were in before it happened. That's evidence. But whatever. We're going to move on from that. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I love seeing Robert Duncan McNeil doing Locarno. And now that it ties in with Lower Decks, it's even better. It's much better because of that. And I also love this episode because even back in the day, I have the Franklin Mint Enterprise that's on Wesley's desk. And you get some beautiful shots of it. It's like Franklin Mint was sponsoring this episode, or, they were promoting the work of Franklin Mint, the production team. So this is a fun episode, and we get to see some cool computer graphics. Get to see the Academy fighter thing. And it's a really cool episode. I like it. So there you go. How about you?
So it's one of those ones that it stands out in your memory because you actually get to visit the Academy. That's pretty rare. Boothby, of course, pretty iconic. The new uniform, Academy uniforms, again, another little icon. And Earth, just Earth in general. It's got to be under a dozen times they go to Earth in TNG. And of course, Voyager, they never went to Earth and DS9. But it's a very different kind of episode, so therefore it's going to linger, right? This time, of course, I rewatched it. I mean, that was the last time I watched it would have been my, 10, 12, 15 years old, whatever. And obviously I'd seen Voyager, but I hadn't, memorized Voyager in the same way I have now. So therefore, seeing not Paris was fun to see the differences, because he's not the same. He has, Paris is funny. Paris is funny and charming. Obviously, darker situation, but I feel Locarno has a harder edge. He's more willing to do wrong for right. Paris is more willing to do right, but get in trouble for it, like the water planet. Yeah, the phrase doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. Like there is a difference to them, which I appreciate because they're similar but not identical. I like the Academy uniforms. I do like them.
They are great, yeah.
What really stood out to me though is that there is so little music. We had that recently with one as well. There's almost none. There's almost no incidental. Yes, there's like, you know, between the chapters, as it were, you know, a little bit of in and out of music, but it's all the main speeches just have them just talking with a little of the ship, and that's it. And it is duller because of it. I found myself thinking this would be heightened by absolutely anything on top, and it's an interesting choice to let the scenes breathe. So it made what is a talkie in a plain room even more dull of a talkie in a plain room. If it had anything else going for it, I think it would have elevated it. That said, I really liked, I didn't know the subtlety, I remembered the main story, of course, and it was really interesting to see how Will Wheaton played it, because he's known for being a chipper, happy, friendly character, but from second one, he's like this, no mum, dour, kind of dramatic, and it's really interesting to see him play an entirely different side. As an actor, I'm sure it was very refreshing. It's radically different, although to watch Wesley fall from grace so far and know he goes nowhere and does nothing, it's like, oh, that's his other episode, right? It's kind of sad. It's like he didn't amount to anything, because this is a sad episode for him to perform. But the actual acting, I think, is rather good, and certainly a far cry from what he had. I wish, you know, the other two ladies had more, the other two flight people. But the Admiral lady was great, and I really, really liked, sad it is, the speech that the kid's dad had with Wesley, you know, apologising for your son's mistake.
Yeah.
Is such a mature thing to do, while so heartbreaking. Like, the level of balls on that guy, to have that much, like, fortitude emotionally. Your son died a week ago, and you're saying sorry to the person who almost... What a guy to do that. Like, geez, and to not cry, and to sell the scene so perfectly. Like, he's broken, but he's an officer, and he respects everybody, and it's really, really, really well handled scene. He only got that one scene to say anything, but it was really, really well done. And I remember thinking originally years ago, like, oh, he doesn't do anything, but that is really worth that one scene by him. And he's got my dad's exact haircut, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Like, to a tease. So yeah, many small thoughts. Many small thoughts.
Yeah.
Anything
Do you appreciate it more now because of Lower Decks, though?
Oh yeah. Well, it feels like a part of a journey. It doesn't feel like an end and then a joke of there being two of him. But I definitely got the team vibe. It all resonated far more, knowing he just wants the team, he wants the life, he wants the spirit. That really came across. I see why Mike Mann chose that. It absolutely is there in the episode. But when in the future, you realise how deep that seed is. Although I am surprised at the end. I don't know if it was an editing choice, but to have the longest pause on Locarno's face, as you think he's going to say something meaningful, to then stand and say nothing, to then have his character redeeming moment off camera with dialogue from Picard, is such a bad choice for the character, because that lost him all the chance to have that epic moment. Still a good scene with Picard, but it's like you really butchered that guy's little last 5 seconds just to say, I have something else to say, one note, and then cut to black, and then but say nothing and then reverse it. I wonder if that was changed in the editing. Like they said, oh shit, because obviously they could go reshoot at the park, right? It's right close to the studio. So if they want to change the ending, it's right there, right? But I wonder if they said, oh, this ending's too dark. We have to. Probably wasn't, but it was odd to have that as the edit point.
Probably a time thing. Could have focused on Locarno doing that, or they could have focused on the relationship between Wesley and Picard at the end, the reestablishment of that trust. Because you just say, "Good luck, cadet." Like he's kind of got that respect back for Wesley. So. Yeah.
Well, it's a Humpty Dumpty, still broken but being put back together. Still broke it, but made the effort to put himself back together. But it's funny because now I know how little I care about Wesley going forward. Like the level of influence he has on anything after this is none. Basically, I care now more about Locarno, Lower Deck story, that I wanted his resolution more than Wesley and Picard, because it wasn't engaging compared to, because like he doesn't matter. If he'd been more episodes, fine. Does that make sense, or is that harsh? I mean, it is harsh, but I think it makes sense.
No, it does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how much more strong Locarno is because of knowing he comes back.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, let's get into it. Picard's back to do a commencement address at Starfleet Academy, and looking forward to seeing Wesley again. So,
happy days.
We get, hear about Superintendent Brand, and that Picard knows her well. I mean, it's fine. He knows everybody, really.
Yeah, it's nice to have some humanity to the openness.
Then there's a transmission from her. It's supposed to be, well, take it in the ready room because they couldn't play it on the view screen. And it's like, I know you're friends of the Crusher family. There's been an accident. And then the very next scene, they contacted Picard before they contacted his mother. So it's kind of the vibe you get because she's like responding to it with Picard telling her that he's fine and all that. Just seems like an odd choice. Wouldn't you contact the parent first?
Maybe ongoing investigation. It's a criminal investigation, therefore it goes up to a chain of command thing.
Yeah, and Wesley is an adult. It's not like the parent has to be notified, but...
Yeah. No, indeed, that's actually But also it lets you have the Picard to other people thing. And this thing I found was very interesting, because you get the fun of the moment. Of course, you know, talk to Academy is fine, but you are left to wonder for those 2 minutes of the titles. There's been a problem. It's ready room. Wesley. You think he's dead. And that's absolutely how they play it. And it's actually a shockingly strong, like, Wesley's dead. Well, shit. And then, boy, Beverly's very calm. I was kind of surprised. Picard's doing a very good friend reassuring. I think he was beautifully on point there. But she's very pulled away from it. That's obviously a way of dealing with potential grief, but I thought she'd give a bit more emotion to the scene than almost none. She's like, well, I hope he's good.
Well, she was in shock.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I disagree with the acting choice, though. I think she should have taken a different approach.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we get the summation that there was an accident during training, and he's fine. One person died, but him and everybody else are fine. And she's like freaking out. He's allergic to whatever. I should send his records. Of course, they'll have his records.
Which I said out loud, and they said it.
Yeah, it's that parent thing. So, I think that was actually kind of well played, that part.
The end bit, yes, not the first bit. But then they get to the academy. Really nice to see. Of course, no space dock or any other ships in orbit. I would have argued they should have added space dock into these space shots in the remaster. Would have been nice. I mean, obviously there's a 99.9% planet without space dock in orbit, but like the chance of seeing a completely unobstructed orbit without anything flying around is very low, I would think, on Earth. How busy it is. Especially the way the sun is hitting. I don't know. Yeah, the academy, beautiful.
But this is also the same courtroom that we just saw in The Outcast.
See, I thought it looked familiar.
Yeah, absolutely it does.
Just more silver.
Not redressed very much at all, honestly. So, it's fine. It's fine. We just saw that episode.
But it probably was not the best choice of two courtroom dramas basically back to back. Like with the amount of courtroom was in that.
Yeah, well, I was only in it for a few minutes at the end. I was kind of surprised with The Outcast. I thought there was more of that in that episode. I remember saying that at the time. But yeah, I mean, they're almost back-to-back episodes with the same. It's just like, guys. And I know there's an episode coming up, the last of the season, where they're back at Starfleet in San Francisco, and it's the exact same shots that we see in this episode of people walking around.
Look, that person loves that walk. Every half hour, every camera crew is always just doing that same walk. Okay, very on point.
All 5 of them. Yep.
Well, they've all got twins and triplets.
Yeah.
And don't you just love those cinema-style chairs? Like, just the way they are framed, being bright red, just feels like they're at a cinema screening. Every time I see it, like a theme park, like a ride, like they're all in carts or something. It's just so bold compared to the rest of the room. I don't know why bright red was the choice. I'm sure it's just stock they had from another set. We're pulling bright red chairs.
Yeah. They talk about the memorial service later in the day for Cadet Albert, and then the talk about postponing the ceremonies, the graduate or the commencement, for this, and then decided against that because they got to learn that things happen, things need to still move on. But yeah, you do feel bad for the dad, for sure.
He has a tremendous sad face.
Yeah.
While still being professional. And also, small thing, but I like how the Admiral calls him Captain, not Jean-Luc. Because the amount of Admirals that default to Jean-Luc, it's fun to see, like, you kind of know them, but not that well.
Yeah.
Small touch, but they could choose. I thought she did a great job. She's a good amount of stern meets, I sense something fishy, but I'm not going to... The whole time, because obviously she's experienced, right? Getting to Admiral means you've lived as a captain for a long time and as a commander, whatever. She knows this is dodge. In some way, right? Even if it's just their whatevering. So to see that judgment the entire time is quite fun. Yeah, she did a good job with that.
Then we get the shot of Wesley and his really cool uniform. I do like these uniforms. He's doing some rehabilitation on his arm. And Franklin Mint Enterprise. Ta-da! Oh, and Star Trek 6 lights from the conference room.
Yeah. And this is a very interesting tonal scene, because Wesley is very dour. Like, you've never seen him as dour before, ever. And the scene is in real time, basically, so it's all of 2 minutes of pleasantries with an absolute inference on, I don't want to keep talking about this, which is very understandable, but as soon as Locarno comes, he has to awkwardly say, if you'll excuse us. I'm just thinking, Wesley, they warped across the galaxy to see you for 2 weeks. You can give him 2 minutes. And that's how big the situation is. That's how uncomfortable he is. He has to throw them out within 2 minutes. And it's all played very slow, very real time. You then feel that weirdness, like, oh, we're instantly throwing them out.
And they Picard and Crusher give the looks to denote that too. Like, wow, what's going on?
He's matured. Yeah. He can throw us out.
Yeah.
And he's not impolite. It's very well handled. It's just tonally really weird.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a really well acted scene. I wonder how he takes this to it, because the tone is just so, visceral. You know.
I do like the back and forth with how you feeling, Nick. You know, it's like, I lost somebody under my command, and Picard's like, yeah, it never gets easier. I kind of like that.
Yep. Because he doesn't know any better. Like this guy's just the guy. He's, everyone's injured here. A few minutes of friendliness, as it were. Yeah. No, indeed. And you instantly get the tonal shift. They both entirely change their postures, as Locarno is clearly covering up. Dodge is happening, Stuart. Dodge is happening.
Yep.
How do you feel about the dodge?
I thought it was very well played, because you're the first time watching this, you're like, what is going on? But it seems so sinister. Turns out it's not super sinister. It's just... Yes. We kind of... up and somebody died, so now it's snowballed into this situation where it's not like they killed him on purpose or something, because that's kind of how it feels for a little bit. It just seems like something really evil's going on.
Well, not just that, but in the middle, we'll get to that in a little bit, they represent that they express that the chap was unstable, and therefore they let him continue in the mission. He went awry, caused the crash, and that's then on them for failing to read him and tell him to go off the mission. That actually is, in a sense, more culpable, because then they all deliberately allowed a dangerous thing to happen, versus a pure 100% accident. You know what I mean? Like they, it was one of the many things that could have happened in a situation. There was no way of predicting it, whatever. So I kind of like, the tone here is different to how it is later, which I kind of like.
Yeah. We see more of the gardens and
Lovely.
Starfleet.
Yeah. A lot of extras too. Good job for them. They made it feel pretty full.
Yeah. And we get the introduction of Boothby. Mad about this flower bed that he's replanted a few times. So I think it's great. This back and forth between the two of them. It's like, Picard, class of 27. He's like, I know who you are. It's great. What happened to your hair?
I can say that because I knew you when you were young, so I can be
Yeah.
mean to you, and it's great.
Mm.
Yeah, it's interesting. 'Cause it's played. It's so much, pun intended, grounded reality that when it escalates into the meaning, it kind of catches you off guard. Because they spend a lot of time. It's a very slow, gentle little bit, and like, you sort of left wondering, well, why are we delving? Okay, cool, we're delving into Picard's history, kind of, but really the payoff later is great. You know, this man studies everybody. He's friends with everybody. Everyone knows him. He knows all the not where things are buried, but he knows the his ears to the grind, etc. And it's amazing how few he's in, yet what legacy he's left. I'm assuming he was a well-known character actor at the time, and therefore this is kind of like a fun guest casting. Given how much character he puts into this, I don't know, like Bones McCoy was the most famous. DeForest Gale was the most famous TOS actor at the time because he was well-known for westerns. He was a character actor, right? You kind of get the sense this guy, just the way he plays it, just pitch perfect. He just was a character actor. Yeah, great. You can see why he's utilized.
Yeah, and they talk about the mistake Picard made and all that, and it's
Never resolved, but doesn't need to be.
no, exactly.
A fun mystery.
I just thought you were a gruff old man. At that time, I was the same age you are now. It's like, oh shit, yeah.
Yep.
That's great.
Hawks. You got old, Picard. Yeah, you got old, Picard. You got old. Yes.
Yeah. And he asked him if he knows everybody from Nova Squadron. He's like, yep. Named them all off. And then walked away. And Picard's like, oh, okay. Shit.
Yeah.
Then we get them all meeting, talking about being nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But everything's going to be fine. We're all here for each other. Yeah. Just,
It's a dodge, but team. Yeah, if we get through this.
Yep.
Because, it is 4 people's career. And I guess they're graduating like next week. So they're basically being almost picked for assignments. They're right at the precipice of their, I'll say as I say it often, but the academy is thousands of people every sector to get in. And then you got to do 4 years of pretty intensive stuff. I'm sure lots of people flunk out just because it's too hard. So this is a lot of time, effort, and resources at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, damn. Although I wouldn't have thought of Wesley as a pilot.
Yeah, that kind of came out of nowhere.
He's Wesley, the science guy, and the genius guy, and he never shows any of that here. Like, none of those traits that Gene wanted in season 1 are here. He's entirely teen, humanized adult without any of that extra. It would have been nice if it had some extra element, but of course, if he had been, for example, if he had been the guy who suggested the maneuver and like add a very cool trick to it, like a bonus thing that he's so smart, and it's his fault, you then judge Wesley far more. So they have to keep him abstract enough to just be there. But then by just being there, he feels too ordinary for what the character was intended to be, which is special. He is not special here. Although, of course, you could argue he was special to us 21st century people watching season 1, but in the academy, lots of people are special because that's how they got to the academy, right? So you could, I suppose different ways of arguing it, but he was very un-Wesley-y, if that makes sense. He was more just man called Wesley Crusher.
Yeah, but it's also hard because he's at the same time.
Yeah.
This has happened, so he's got a lot on his mind. So he's not acting like himself. So
well, exactly, it's situational, right?
Yeah. I do like the graphics though that they use for showing the maneuver on the screen. That looks really cool.
Yeah, they're great. They're both dated and not dated at the same time.
Yep.
Plus, it's actually kind of a holodeck as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in universe as well. And this was proper CG at the time. They built a 3D model and they did it. This was actually, they did some miniature work as well, but this was actual CG back in the day, which was nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they talk about the Jaeger loop and the diamond slot formation, and got a really cool animation of the.
It's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, and I love that they have emergency transporters that they get immediately transported to one of the facilities nearby. That's freaking great.
Yeah, I mean, what lifelines do you have in basically a shuttle pod? And it wasn't an escape pod. It's just a training, a flight training vehicle. It's not even, just a button. Because I mean, you'd think there'd be, especially if you're doing any exercise, you'd have a transporter relay satellite nearby, so everything's ready to go. Because even the original maneuver they were going to do was like 10 meters apart, so they're very close to each other. Either way, like it's dangerous. Any which way, it's dangerous. So they went extra dangerous. So yeah. I guess the other guys didn't press his button. That's it. That's why he didn't do it. That's why he didn't. Because the way Wesley described it, they got hit before they even really realized what was happening. So it must have been like super instinct. His instincts just weren't fast enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Easy. What do you guys think, though? Halfway, quarter of the way through. Let us know your comments, questions, thoughts. Or should do a poll.
Yes, do a poll. Hit the like button if you haven't already. We have 29 people here and 28 likes. Somebody hasn't hit like. Is it you? Why? But yeah, super chat in. We want to hear your thoughts. If you have any facts you know about this episode or anything that you want to let us know, super chat in. So we will read those out. We love doing these reviews, but we need you guys to chime in and be part of the discussion as well. This is a community, so do what you can to help out. We'd appreciate that. But yeah, I got to give them kudos while you're doing the poll for this uniform. I really love this uniform with the pockets, and I even really prefer their ranked pips as well to like the standard ones. It's a cool look. It's a cool look, I gotta say. So yeah, top-notch uniform. I wouldn't mind one of these ones actually, but why would you want one when you're just in the academy? Then it's one of those things, you know. But anywho. It's also cool to know that Starfleet has like a flight, aerobatics team for things like this. It's kind of cool to find that out. Kind of like the Blue Angels or the, so.
Or just one? Kind of many teams. And where's Delta Squad? Was invented yet.
Let's see, the poll is up. Should Wesley have spilled the beans or kept the secret and graduated? Secret, alternate ending. The truth. The ending was correct.
And can you handle the truth? That's the question.
Yeah. I think the only reason he did it was for Picard's, respect. Because honestly, Locarno was probably right. Picard would have said what he thought, but it's still a theory. There's no proof, even though you got a picture of them in the formation leading into that. So, yeah, I don't know. I felt like you guys got off so lucky, and then Wesley stands up, and I had the same look on my face like Locarno had. I'd be like, you.
Why no one likes you? What?
All right. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. It's a genuine question, right? There's a variety of possibilities. But yes, we get into another problem with this episode, in a sense, is that you're trying to learn about these characters, but the point of the cover-up is that they have a story to stick to, which is either don't remember, don't recall, maybe. So every time they get to the point in the episode where there would be more drama, NOVA Squad just shut down. So there's only a finite amount of drama in those scenes, because that's sort of the point, right? By not saying anything, you're not saying anything. And so that's what the scene is. It's like, he tells the story. Is that it? Yep. Oh. Okay.
Well,
yeah.
Lackluster
is sort of the point.
Yeah. We also get the discussion here about the flight plan and how their positions were off, and they're like, last minute decision, think we should report it. And then,
have you not been to the academy and they tell you to report everything? What do you mean? I don't think I should report it. Shut up. I should have. But yeah. Point.
So they ask if anybody saw anything. Sito was in the tail position, and she was flying solely on sensor readings. As a pilot. Well, as a pilot, that's IFR, instrument flight rules, not visual flight rules. And yeah, you don't want to do that with aerobatic flying. It's quite interesting that they threw that in. But yeah, she's obviously lying. She did see what happened, or she knew what happened. But it's cool the way they play it. But yeah, the murmuring, what's going on?
And,
well, usually,
yeah, entirely organically, Beverly checks in and says, "What the hell are they saying?" Exactly as they should do.
Yeah,
it's very appropriate.
And I like how. Could you at least tell us the orientation of his ship? I don't remember. You were flying a ship traveling at 80,000 kilometers per hour, with his ship less than 10 meters away, and you didn't know what his orientation was. He was straight, sir. Oh wait, wrong orientation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, then Locarno stands up and goes, "Yeah, we didn't want to say this, but Josh was having some problems. He's been having difficulties lately, nervous with close flybys, and maybe a little erratic. Like, you didn't feel the need to report that? Well, we didn't want to, we wanted to give him a chance. We didn't want to make him look bad, so yeah."
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he's throwing Josh under the bus, but he's dead. His dad seems to be like, I don't know. So, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, I don't know, man.
I'm back on theatre for a second. I have a bad short-term memory anyway, so they're remembering something that inconsequential on a personal level feels odd, because you worry about your own turn ratio. But of course, if she's Starfleet, then she's trained to notice things, and she's piloting, so you would think she'd know everyone's. But I could see her not remembering. Then again, I've got bad memory for that stuff. Just to note on that. And yeah, Locarno, but the way he plays it, it feels somewhat genuine. That's why he's a good actor, right? I mean, he got series regular for a reason. I think he plays a very good job. He's not. I get the sense that Josh probably was more timid, and probably was a bit more of the, not unreliable, but the least energetic of the five. So therefore, it is very possible he did make a mistake. Very possible is what he's thinking. Now, they all could have made a mistake, but he's the one that died, so that's what they're thinking. So I feel like he's taking a very plausible truth with no evidence to the counter, and he's saying it. He's not lying. He's making observational possibility truth, but I'm just showing a bit too much confidence. So it's an interesting balance of truth and not truth, I think, for him in this. Because it comes across quite genuine.
Yeah, and they make that distinction later. Like, you told the truth up to a point, but lying by omission is still lying.
Yeah, well, they've not even mentioned the other things. So, and of course, it doesn't go unnoticed that he keeps interjecting on the team's behalf. Mr. Interjector, which is very. That's
his job as squadron leader, though.
It is, but it's also a symbol of guilt if you're asking third lieutenant and the top brass is speaking for them. It's like, that's because they've got a unified form to not tell. It's 101, we're guilty, right? Otherwise you just answer the question. If everyone's innocent, you just answer the question. But as made very clear at the end, this is Starfleet. Without proof, you can't convict based on, we really think you probably did it. So even though it's like, that's a total hint of a guilt of what, right? Guilt of what? They've already now been found for two things. One, flight path change, and letting the guy fly in theory without. That's two guilts. And you could argue that maybe they knew going in we were going to hide some stuff, so that it looks as if, because often in an investigation, I feel like once you find something, you think you've done your job. You know how much there is to find, but maybe they deliberately kept some stuff back to be found out, to say, "Oh, sorry about that, sorry, that was it, yeah, shit, now you can ground us," versus hide tell the truth and then they look for the deeper meaning. Maybe I don't know. I'm trying to find deeper meaning in this.
Well, anyway, back aboard the Enterprise, Kirk's like, "I want you guys to investigate this," and did I say Kirk?
Yep.
Picard says, "I want you guys to investigate this." And Jordie's like, "I don't know if there's much we could do. They got a really good investigation team." But he's like, this is one of ours. We want to make sure that everything's done properly. I say, yes, sir. We understand. So
it's funny when I watched this scene, I took it as Joy's. So say to me what Picard said to Jordie.
Do the thing.
And in Joy's mind it says, "But I've got a date in 2 hours with a girl I've been courting for 2 years."
You know that's not true.
But I love it. He's like, I got plans. Like, you know, it's like all night work because that's the thing. It's fine to say do work, but clearly do work now is what you're saying. It's like I got. It's 4:37. I'm off a shift in 20 minutes. I was like the little.
Me and Dad have a poker game to get to in like.
And he's not going to cheat. He promises. Neither am I promise.
It's really 15 minutes. Yeah, Data's going to stack the deck, and I'm going to read the cards with my visor.
And yet Riker will still win. Amazing. But I like you know, it must be very strange to have a Admiralty officer at the Academy who, you know, are you top of your tier if you're just dealing with students, right? Maybe, maybe not. The flagship comes calling with the most prolific captain in the fleet. Has a hell of a different chain of command and chain of whatever. And he's not forceful in any way, but she clearly said, F it, we're going to give him all the stuff. It's not a secret, I suppose. But yeah, the Enterprise has the experience to find out the truth. Although, did they find out anything? Yeah, they found the...
Yeah, they talked about why he opened his vents and to ignite the plasma, and that sparked.
But also, anybody on the Academy would also have seen that. They just didn't think it was the deductive power of the team. But, but their skills didn't actually find anything new. It was their deduction. So I just had to remember.
Well, it would have been brought up at the inquiry, honestly. Like, why did you do this? Why did you go to start to purge your plasma? That would have been mentioned, and it never was. So.
Well, they linger on stuff a long time that allows for a lot less detail. A lot less quick fire.
Anyway, next scene is like, you shouldn't have said that, Nick. It wasn't Josh's fault.
First.
And they talk about lying and not lying. I'm not going to lie. And Locarno's actually trying to convince him at this point. He's like, look, we've all thought it. Yep. Josh panicked.
We don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. This is very much... we're not technically lying because he did cause the accident. So we've all thought it. Maybe he screwed up. So...
And obviously, you can see the live right now, Stuart. My big issue with this scene, and it was the most distracting thing ever. Do you know what it is?
No.
It's the fact that it says Locarno's room, or I guess Wesley's. He had the goddamn USS Voyager Janeway ready room replicator, right a frame. It's the same. It's the same prop. I'm like, god damn it. It's the only other thing in the room, and I know that because I've textured it, right, from one of our sets. I'm like, I know that goddamn prop piece is for the future. It's just really bugged me in the scene. Oh, I love the nighttime sky look. Look how cool that looks.
Yeah, it does look cool.
I doubt that was green screen, because that's just a lot of effort. It must have been a matte painting. That's really effective, and it's a very good way of having night and day. I just wish the girl said more. You know, I wish I had more of a team, quick-fire dynamic. I know that Locarno's lead, I get it, works well. But I definitely, if I'd written sort of highlighted different things in the script, I feel like, I'd probably increase the word per minute count a little bit because it's quite slow. But yeah, like we debate, like you said, the did he break? You know, because you could, well, it's like normally you wouldn't second guess something like that. Did he make a mistake? But at this point, it's now your morality, your conscience. What if he did make the mistake? Like that would make you live with it because
he also ends it with saying the preliminary report from your flight recorder ends. It was so badly damaged that it ends like before any of this happened. So we're fine. We just need to stick with our story.
Yep.
I kind of like that because it's a very good point. Like if you don't say anything else, the only thing that ruined it for them was Picard and the Enterprise team. Honestly,
the old morality thing.
Yeah. And I'm sure this would have bugged Wesley for years and years and years if he had gone through with it, but he eventually would have told somebody. But yeah, it's one of those things, right? So I don't know. I don't blame Nick Locarno at all. She is trying to look out for all of them, honestly. But unfortunately, considering Josh died, he kind of didn't do that. So.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a real thing. But he's doing his job. And like you say, I mean, if it wasn't a death, how many things have done in the academy that they just got away with because they just didn't say anything?
Yep.
They stole a loaf of bread and they didn't say anything, or they got into replicator without anyone noticing, didn't say anything, or streaked across campus, or they really got seen, didn't get caught, and that is an interesting twist though, because you are kind of wondering where's the proof going to come. Suddenly I was left wondering, not knowing the subtleties again. So like having Wesley's flight recorder, which was clearly the last one to be found, was I guess the inference. Like all the rest of them were either not. That's the what else have you got, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although you would think there'd be some sort of academy starship, like an Oberth or Miranda, like monitoring them, just an actual starship. I mean, you'd think hundreds of ships at Earth for various degrees. There would be any ship. It seems odd they need a satellite that was a very long way away. Doing an abstract random search. No starship nearby that has sensor data? No, apparently not. Like surely like the D currently has passive sensors for Jupiter. Like while in orbit. I would assume so. I mean, how is they detecting ships 5 light years away approaching, right? At warp. They must have scans that are good enough. I don't know, is that too much? Is that too much to say? Solar system worth of scanners?
Have to be specifically focused. So one's looking for incoming ships, or looking outward. I don't know. I don't see a problem with nobody monitoring them. You would think that the base that they on the moon that they beamed into would at least be, because that's the emergency evac point. Mm-hmm. But
because you don't need visual, because that's the thing. They had a visual scan, but sensor scans would be far easier to get. You don't need to have this big camera, and they would also. This is odd. This is Earth's solar system. There isn't passive sensors that could detect it in a meaningful way. That seems odd to me. Mm. But it's like committed crime in the CIA headquarters. Hard to justify because you'd think they have really good security for everything, right? You would think, but maybe not.
This is also where he says that a lot of people were waiting to be part of NOVA Squad, and he picked Wesley because he served on the Enterprise, and he knows.
Is that here? Or is that later?
Well, he mentions it, but
okay.
He mentions it here that I picked you for a reason, and that we're at the end of our academy run. We're going to be serving together. Josh can't be part of those plans anymore, but
he'd still want us to be together.
He'd still want us to be a team, yeah.
Is he saying he's the best, sir? Isn't that Delta Squad? Best, the best? It is, I think. Although it seems very silly of him to assume he can get them all the same posting. That's not really how that works. You never get 5 people posted to the same starship. That's silly.
Yeah, it definitely gives me Red Squad vibes, though.
Yeah, it's definitely, although just flight commandy versus everything else.
Yeah. And Thirst Contact, I don't know why copy and paste doesn't work for your membership message. I don't know.
Well, let us know in the normal chat. Copy, paste. Yep, well, it's on this one end.
Anywho, so we got Wesley going over his stuff for the briefing.
This is a scene.
Yeah. I love that the sweater he gives him to is one that Wesley's worn before. One of those ugly ass sweaters with the big knitted like.
It is. Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, prop department, it's right there.
Yeah. From our ski trip, went to Calgary last month, and he forgot his sweater, so I gave him one of mine. Here it's back, and you helped him with his classes. I really appreciate that. He could do the math. He just didn't like doing the math. It's a good discussion because he's like, he realized what the requirements were to get into Starfleet, so he actually buckled down and got that done. So I feel bad for the dad, I really do. And he says it. I realized it was his fault, and everybody could have been killed, and I'm sorry for that. It's like oofta.
It's a real punch in the gut.
Yeah.
And the guy's acting is just so balanced because it's so irrelevant. I'd love to know if he had more kids or if any of the other ones died or something, because he's just so amazingly mature about this. I don't know, but and like I said, my dad's hair down to a T.
I know. But not his eyebrows.
No, not his eyebrows. Yeah, just a good strong scene, and Wesley's again he's it's heartbreaking. He's doing a good job not to make it too much, because any Starfleet officer would be accustomed to to sense people's emotions in some way. So as an actor, trying not to let anything through while still telling the audience everything. It's a good balance where he's kind of not giving enough, but that's what lets. Because I actually thought, and I must have been a Mandela effect. I remember this scene, or a scene where the dad confronts somebody and tell the truth, boy. I thought this scene was that, and it's entirely He's not trying to guilt him. He's not trying to force him. It's entirely genuine. So I was kind of surprised that it was as pure as it was. He trusts Starfleet and the people. If they say they didn't do it, even if his own son is to blame, which you got to think, if his own dad, without feeling cynical, agrees that his son might not have been good enough and caused the accident. If he thinks he's possible, that means it probably was possible. The amount of times in film and TV you play a trope card of, my son wouldn't do that! Instant. This guy believes he did. Without any hesitation. As portrayed. So that's kind of makes you think maybe he did cause the accident, right? Because we don't know what caused it. Their incompetence, but that's a broad statement. Maybe the guy did cause it. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, you know?
So Thirst Contact wanted to post, just watched Cause and Effect review, and the Bozeman was from 2278. Kirk died in 2293, so the refit Enterprise would have still been the current Enterprise.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we get Wesley's testimony, and you get some really cool footage of the in-cockpit, and you can see the other ship outside, which is nice.
It's very minimalist. I wish it was a bit more, but they had to film that, and and I think you can tell it's a dude on a console. And they added a cockpit, and the rest of it's sort of CG/miniature.
Looks good though.
And it's good though, yeah. All 5 seconds of it. That's kind of the point. And this is a very interesting scene once you realise that they have the evidence. So every single line here is them saying, so tell us what happened. We have the answer. So that's all happened. We know. And making him dig his own grave. And yet Wesley's, committing. And it's a good performance. He's hurt. You can see it in his eyes. It's good. And then when they call him out, it bloody shatters. I love the tension. I think this is like the twist of the episode. So there is actually something to force the issue. And it's wholly different. You've been screwed. It's a good little moment actually. It's such a low-key episode that having one singular payoff feels like a payoff. It's very singular.
Yeah. Yeah, they have the picture of the formation. It's like, so you were in the diamond formation, huh? Oh, yes, sir. What about this? Can you explain it? No. That's just great.
Yeah.
But they have proof. They have a picture of the formation not being correct. So that is evidence to something.
And Stuart, that's a hell of a zoom.
Oh, yeah, it's the future. Have you seen like CSI and stuff? Zoom and enhance that license plate. They can do that now, man. Yeah. Of course, they can do that in the future.
Have you seen that? Have you seen the Red Wolf episode where they make fun of that gag?
Probably, I just don't remember.
To reiterate, while you guys are super chatting your thoughts, comments, questions, there's a bit where they're in a, because obviously Crichton, the androids he remembers things and scan things. So he is standing. He says, "Right, take a look at this picture," and in the picture, there's a reflection on a
I do remember this now.
on a pole, which then reflects back to see the reverse angle of a guy, and within that, the reflection from a car to get another reflection to then get inside a water drop to then get inside and enhance, then get a card, which is like three flips from the position. And it's like,
it's like the recreation they did in Into Darkness of the explosion.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah, but it's just wonderful because technically speaking, there is light that hits something that is a reflect. Like logically, there's data there, but it's like holy shit. But that must be like a 1 billion millimeter lens because it's really impressive. Like they're not. And it's very clear as well. It's very good.
And only one picture of it. So it's not like it was constantly filming or scanning.
Yeah, that's
it was taking like snapshots.
See, that's where it falls apart because why the hell are you taking pictures of not there on purpose? And if you're taking a 80 million megapixel image, you can zoom that far. The motion blur is gonna be insane. I wish it was a scan, not a picture, or I wish they had multiple pictures. I don't understand this as a concept. Why this happened to be?
It's a visual representation of the scan information.
That I would like, but then it should have had like a green overlay and was back in. But it's a cool twist. Like that's not the thing you expertly talked about. Like all their sphincters got real tight all of a sudden, and it's great.
Next scene, hey, we're working on this. Data and Jordie are, they're busting their asses on the Enterprise to figure this out because I know you're not lying. I'm not going to let them ruin your career over this. They're going to find the truth. And Rosie's like, Mom, just stop trying to protect me. Seriously. You're not going to like what you find. It's a good scene. This is well played by both of them. So
yeah, it's unusual in that Beverly's so genuine here.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to believe your kid did anything wrong.
Well, exactly. Especially if you feel like then of course logically the thing's broken, right? Obviously, there's no, obviously. But it's very well played by Beverly, by Gates, and then they shot to the other. Well, I'd love to know who's Locarno's mum and dad. All parents, right? That's Locarno's. What do they think about this? Do they think their kid did something wrong, or? That added a bit of a separate scene I would like to have seen. Her walking up to all the other parents and saying, "I'm sorry for what's happening, but I believe all of our kids. There must be something wrong with the data." They're like, "He's a troublemaker." No. Wesley says it's good. Like, you know what I mean? There can be a really tense scene with that off camera, and yeah, Wesley is so uncomfortable. I love for me the vibe he's giving off is my mistake. I can feel him going down. But I can't let you. Well, obviously, I can't let you spread a lie. But just let whatever happens happen. Let the dice roll fall. It's just we can't change the course of events here.
Not only that, but you, Picard, Data, and Jordie are all going to find out the truth, and think super badly of me. Just drop it.
Well, that's
right?
but he didn't force that issue too much, and you're right. That was the start of the scene. Of course, if Data's on the case, you're stubbornly screwed. Or at least to confirm there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, it's but it really is. It's like you shattered the window of your house. Your parents come back, and it's like you did it. There's a security camera. You're waiting for them to find the footage, and you just can't tell them you did it for some reason. It just hurts too much. And then they find out. It's like you could have told them. But you also couldn't tell them, it just hurt too much. And we've all had that moment, right? Where it's like, we just can't say the truth. Even though I could have been found out is 100%, right? It's just something about it just grabs you the wrong way. It's very relatable.
And then we get a very cold morning.
Yeah.
Starfleet, the Botanical Gardens. Because you can see their breath. But yeah, talking about how much Nova Squad means to everybody at the Academy, as he was talking about the one celebration they had for the Precy Squares tournament, and it took him days to get the grounds back to looking bright after that. Well, that's exactly what these guys feel about Nova Squad. They're like gods to these kids. That's a hard thing to live up to, but Locarno, he looks after his team so much so that they'll jump off a cliff for him. and then he leaves. It's like, yep, they are doing that. So it's great. It's a fantastic scene. But yeah, you can see the Picard's breath. And
LA doesn't get that cold often, at least in my experience.
It does sometimes, but yeah, it was quite an interesting scene actually.
It like I said, it's a very much a payoff to the earlier scene, where the mundane is how Boothby lives. He must be seeing drama every day, and seeing it, living it, being part of it, you know, whatever. I really just like the gentle payoff of summarizing the plot basically, without because Boothby doesn't know, and he clearly isn't in these meetings, right? He doesn't know the trial, he doesn't know what's happening. He just knows the people, and he knows the vibe, and he knows that there's a track record for these people. And I love the simplicity of, that's just the truth, Picard. That's what people know. You can apply it or not. Turns out you can apply it 1-to-1, and it's a really nice scene for that. Just human nature, and while still being, you know, they're the best. They want to be the best. They're cool. I kind of wish they felt more like cool kids. That's one thing I didn't quite buy. I know obviously Starfleet, cool is relative, right? But the way they project it to me, this team, is that they're flight team specialists who are good at what they do. I didn't get the sense they're like celebrities. Like, there's never even a moment when, because there's loads of extras, right? They could have had a single moment where Locarno's walking through the grounds with Wesley, and someone comes up to him and says something, just anything. It's very removed from that concept. I feel like we didn't need it, but I think with this scene it would have been a benefit. And also Picard's head, he's goddamn shiny. Have a map box on this. Very distracting.
Did you keep looking to see if you could see Mariner in the background? Because we know she's there.
That's the remaster. But in fairness, Stuart, you can put Tawny in those long shots now. Yeah. You can easily green screen it, just put her in an academy uniform, make it, it's fine. That would be great to remaster it with Tawny. Do it! For Netflix version. Or Mike McMahon can make the live action version, do a flashback, take that footage literally verbatim, put her in. It's like, yeah, she's at the academy. Perfect! Love it. I'm sold.
Yep.
But guys, we're now an hour in. No more super chats since the start, so we'd love a couple of your thoughts, comments, questions, because you guys help us do what the channel is, or, you know, or you don't care. Either one. Yes.
Well, Picard checks in with his team, and they're like, "Oh, you know, it's low pressure in the landing struts. I don't know, and they're going through all of it. So
mundane, I love it.
Yeah. And then one thing that Wesley did was he opened his coolant interlock before beginning the maneuver. It's a bit unusual. You just usually do that to check engine coolant levels. And then what requires that? Picard asks, and it's like, well, if you want to purge your plasma exhausts, and that just sparks Picard. He's like, that's it, because he recognized the formation on the screen, and to make that starburst maneuver and ignite everybody's plasma exhaust is like, boom. It's really good. It's a really good scene. Jordie and Peter are like, what happened? Essentially.
Well, you get the sense that neither were pilots at the academy, neither really cared so much. Picard was, so he would know about the things. And obviously he's quite a lot older than both of them, so when he was at the academy, it was only 40 years since the last maneuver, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Jordie would have been 75 years, right? So I like that he just knows. Hey, Stephen, welcome back from the cruise.
Yeah, I saw your pictures. Looks like a good time. Glad you could join us.
Did you manage to meet any celebrities out in the wild? I'm still annoyed Tawny hasn't done a UK convention. I'd still like to meet Mariner. She seems fun and wild. You wonder why they cast her for Mariner. But then the scene of the thumbnail. Wesley walks in. Picard has it right there for him. Both what he was seen to have done and what it leads to. It's a great visual effect. And obviously now, in retrospect, there's the logo of the NOVA Squadron from Low Deck, which is great to see return. And Wesley has the most perfect court shirt. Plead fifth. It's a hard scene to watch in a sense, because his butt is right against the corner. Picard is so on his case. You know, the truth, nothing but the truth. Damn it, Wesley. You're a brat then, don't be a brat now. You know?
I was annoyed. He sat in my chair. Presumptuous child. Yeah, it's a great speech.
Yeah, and it's, again, wonderfully one-sided, because Wesley gets so little to say in this episode. It's always about being quiet. But his acting is always good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like how Picard confronts him too, and he's like, I choose not to answer. He's like, what? You gave your answer to the inquiry. And he says, yeah, and I said, da-da-da-da. I said the accident occurred after the loop, and it did. Yeah, but you neglected to point out that the maneuver that you did directly after that loop was what resulted in the crash. That's a lie by omission is still a lie. It's Picard at his finest and at his daddiest.
Yeah.
Daddish.
Yeah.
I don't want to say daddy. I don't like that. But daddish. Knows what the truth is and is expecting to hear, and just gets nothing. It's fantastic. It's a good scene. Very good at acting on Patrick Stewart's part.
Yeah, because it's very difficult, even if he never liked Wesley, really, because he's just so far removed from who Picard is. You can respect someone not like them, right? But then to have your expectation of them be so high, and through both ignorance and negligence and stupidity and peer pressure and team spirit and, let's be honest, getting dumber from getting to the academy is visible in this episode, right? He has lost who he was to fit in, to be social, and of course everyone's part of a team. It's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, because you can't be the brightest spark in the room if you need to work with a team. It's not, that's a Sheldon, I suppose, but then dislikes you for it.
Yeah.
But yet to have those expectations of, I knew you were great, and you're actively lying, and we assume under oath, courtroom, to get out of it. Maybe if it was lying to protect the guy that died, maybe Picard went with an issue. And I guess maybe Picard is thinking a few steps ahead, thinking if they speak the truth, Locarno will take the fall and he'll get thrown out, but they won't. Because the truth means expulsion, surely. Right? Like, that's what Picard's saying. I mean, the truth matters. But you always wish there's a line, a quip saying, well, after you're thrown out, you're welcome back to the Enterprise if you tell the truth. You might fail your affirmation of being an academy person, but at least you'll be an Enterprise. Because that's what he's saying in essence, isn't it? Like, get thrown out, get yourself thrown out. Which is why you can imagine when the deed is done, that horrible stuff done, versus Locarno's thinking, what is the point in spilling the beans? Because it's not going to help anybody. It was a pure accident, and we'll lose everything we've worked hard to get, and no one benefits from it.
Yeah.
Especially if they hadn't have dissuaded the memory of the other guy. If they hadn't, it would have been an accident. Right? It's only because they added the extra, it's like, well, you've just disparaged the other guy. But, yeah. Yes.
With Ray Levy, $5. Certainly a well-written, well-written episode of TNG.
Yeah, and he gave, like I said, a few lines, a lot of emotion, a lot of power. And that is a good director right there to kind of pull basically exactly what we need at any given time.
Yeah, and Will Wheaton is a good actor. Like in Stand By Me, he did a fantastic job of doing this kind of darker kind of acting. He never got a chance to do that in TNG, really, until this. So, yeah.
Well, his face looks sad and puppy dog sad quite easily. Looks on his face.
Yeah. Ray Ricks, though, £10, missed the beginning of the stream and off to watch midnight showing of Dune 2. This is a great episode and the beginning of Wesley's Starfleet demise. Yes. They should add a digital Tawny extra.
Yes.
100%.
We'll enjoy Dune 2. It's exciting. Maria's bugsy us watching as a family, so I have to wait until I see her again and have 3, 4, 5, 6 hours to go watch it.
Yeah. I enjoy Dune 2. Doing 2 girls at the same time. That's a joke. See?
So then he gets thrown out. Not a good time for anybody. But they pull Locarno in. He spills all of the beans, and it kind of goes from being red alert back down to green alert. He has a theory. He doesn't know. There's no proof. It's a good acting choice. And then this I don't agree with. Wesley says, "Well, I can't accuse Picard of lying." It's like, well, you're not. He has a theory. You can be wrong in a theory and not be lying. Just saying, it's not quite how that works, Wesley. But this is.
But
now...
he knows that Picard knows the truth because Picard laid it all out in front of him.
Well, he knows a truth. It happens to be the truth, but he hasn't got proof either.
I think you can tell by the look on Wesley's face, the reactions.
Still no proof, though.
I know. But he's also got a connection with Picard, so if he doesn't... Anyway.
Why is Deanna not in this episode?
That's a very good question.
Just walk up to them and be like... Look up. Oh, God, she's not even got a line, has she?
No.
Marina, you're out.
Oh, she did at the beginning. They asked about the superintendent.
Okay, good.
Riker and her were sitting there.
You!
Yeah.
She earned her paycheck. The Worf said, "Captain, we're getting a thing from a thing again," as he often says.
Yeah. I like how I was like, I can't do this. And Nick's like, oh, you're going to decide my fate. You're going to decide their fate.
Yep.
What about the team? And this is where he says, I knew you were on the Enterprise. I wanted you on the team because I know that you knew what it was like to put your life in other people's hands. It's great because... Yeah. And Nick's like, what you need to do is resign and walk away. Don't ruin our careers based on your guilt. I would do it if I was in the position to. If I was feeling the way you feel it, I would take care of the team first. So that's important later.
Yeah. But the thing is, he's a compelling... Like, you understand why and how he became who he was. Because he's quite compelling an argument. Like, you know he believes it. And that's entirely the actor who's selling it super well. As you say, you can understand the logic, the argument of, you're ruining everyone's careers for gaining what? Conscience? And how many times in TNG do people, as in our heroes, do they not say something to protect the team? Because the team comes first. Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Wesley, by the Star Trek TOS logic, the needs of the many, his team, should outweigh the needs of his conscience and the dad and the death record. That's one of the adages, Stuart. That's what they say. But no, Wesley's going to prioritize the one over the many.
Yeah. Anyway,
drama. It's a good scene. It's one of the better scenes, actually.
It's a no easy answers thing, though. Like, yes, the adult thing to do is to admit to your mistakes. And unfortunately, in this case, it's tied to a bunch of other people. So it's a little bit of a situation.
But it is interesting that it's not clear whose mistake it was. It was all of their mistakes of the maneuver. And it was
all their mistakes for covering it up. I think it might have been Josh's mistake for the accident. Still,
it was clear in Locarno's idea to do the stunt, but it could have been also the Bajoran ladies. Like, you don't know. There's no additional layer of who achieved what to do what. It is now all we know is that thing happened. They all agreed to do a thing. They're all adults. They're all in the academy. They are smart, intelligent, well-meaning people. They all chose to do it. That's the end of that, right? There's no sense they bribed them or corrupted them. They all chose to do it. It's the cover-up. It's interesting because they're still Starfleet, right? They're not made true villains of, unlike other episodes where you have a villain. And the fact that he does take the fall, and here's wonderfully foreshadowed. I would do it. I would protect the team over me, and he does by taking responsibility. He saves the other people in Starfleet, as we know from Sato. Everyone judges her for the rest of her career until she does or doesn't die. So they, still broke the career. Oop.
General Grievous, member for 22 months at the rank of lieutenant, says, I like how RDM said the difference in Paris seems like a bad guy, but deep down he's good. Locarno seems good, but is a manipulative person at his core. Yeah,
there's a harder edge to Locarno for sure. He's more, I think he's more idea-centric. The idea over things. The idea is the team. Now, he does go above him, which is nice, but, yeah.
And Ray Rick's 5 pounds. This mirrors Nog's journey a bit when Red Squad and drinking the Kool-Aid on the Valiant. He was a little more starstruck, and the ship of cadets died. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can imagine being the best in Academy. It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
So here she's like, we've laid it all out that we know.
I love this speech. Her acting is tremendous.
It's great. Your unwillingness to offer any explanation for this contradiction is disappointing and raises suspicions. But
translation, you're lying or the data's wrong, but we checked it, so you're lying.
Yep. And then, however, suspicion is not proof, and I have no proof that you lied to this inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, if no other evidence is presented, I'm going to end the investigation. And then, well,
no, she does.
The charges first.
Yes.
Filing an incorrect flight plan and allowing Cadet Albert to fly when you knew he was having difficulties. I'm ordering a formal reprimand placed on each of your permanent records. I'm also revoking your flight privileges. That's it. That's all they got.
Case closed. Ding.
Yep.
So it is technically over. That's important.
Yep.
The gong means it's over. And I kind of wanted the next scene to be like, sorry, Mr. Crusher, that is the end. Any evidence is now off the record. Whatever. But I love this lady's acting choice because this is a very by the book speech in terms of just technical whatever. But she adds this really effective both. I still don't want to fully commit they're bad people edge, at the same time judging edge. It's a really nice balance. I think it's just there's nuance to it that is actually really flat, but I see all the nuance in a performance too. It's an odd one. I like it a lot, and it's after the gong. It's done. Everyone can relax. The sphincters can become less tight.
But then Wes stands up.
And all of their lives flash before their eyes. All of their emotions sink, and it all just breaks apart.
He actually says, we did this maneuver. We pushed Josh into it when he wasn't ready. So he's still kind of throwing the blame on Josh. Again, I think Josh did kind of panic and wasn't prepared to do it.
Well, you're going back one more responsibility step. Him doing it because he wasn't ready, or him doing it and you saying, you can do it, Josh, insisting.
Yeah.
So you're saying it back to them, yeah. Which nullifies the dad's guilt, because there's a difference between being not ready and being pushed versus not ready and then saying he'll do it.
Yeah.
And he even says it to the guys, like, I'm sorry. Like, he re-sorries, which I think is nice.
Yeah. And they ask Nick if he has anything to say, and he's like, no, sir. The end. No, it's not.
I do wish, and again, I know the entire episode, no one says anything. It's very minimal. I wish the other cast could have said something in this moment. I mean, like, there's some weird, like, you must force to... Because, like, what is this lady on the right? We know what Sato thinks a bit more from later episodes. What is the lady on the right? She has so little personality given. Once the truth's out, I would love for her to stand up and say, I mean, you obviously complicate the ending, right? But it would have been nice if for example, they said in an earlier episode, what they didn't see. Well, what she did see it. Why now she can now relay, I did see Josh collide into us. If the truth's coming out, reveal the truth, right? Or I don't know, right? But I like Locarno's acting here of like, fuck. Both before and after his close-up, and then, the long edit of anything to say, and the acting's really good here. It is truly a man who's lost everything. Before losing everything, of being, like, he knows it is over. It's a really good haunted face. It was a very good choice by Robert. And then without getting the secondary resolution with them, you get it out in the grounds, which I guess Wesley hadn't been in the grounds yet. It's nice to see him on location. This is where he fell over the flowers and was sentenced to death. Yeah. He's back, baby!
So, Locarno got expelled, and Wesley's like, we should have all got expelled. And he's like, you very nearly did. But Mr. Locarno made an impassioned plea for you guys that he used his influence as squadron leader to convince you to do the maneuver and then cover it up. So, he took full responsibility. And
it's funny, because we know for this episode he's able to willingly decide his own truth. So I don't think that's correct. I don't think he actually forced them to do it. I think he's now saying, well, I kind of did in some abstract way. I kind of forced them. That's not really what happened, but it's true from a certain point of view. So it's true for me, you know what I mean? Like, it's very in character to push the truth in a way that isn't quite there. But proof is in the pudding. He did sacrifice his career to save the rest of them. That is so he's not a bad guy. He's just not a good guy. There is a difference.
Yes. And then, but Wes makes the point. He did exactly what he said he would.
Yeah.
He protected the team.
As if the script foreshadowed it on purpose.
Yeah. And Wesley's like, I feel awful. I let you down. I let Mom down. I let everybody down. And Picard's like, you should feel bad. You're going to pay for what you've done. You're not going to graduate with everybody. You're going to be here for another year. And it's going to be hard being here and having these people judge you the entire time.
Mm-hmm. And that does sting. Although and obviously we get where we get later on. I don't know if Wesley even wants to be at the academy after this. For me, that was a question I had. You know, why is he in the first place to do excellence? He hasn't done excellence by this. Although I guess if you've already done the year, you know what's going to happen. You can probably pass it even easier the second time. Or of course you'll be a loner and out of the way a second time. But it's an odd ending scene because it wasn't quite the closure I was expecting. Knowing where it doesn't come from it is one thing, but it's like there's both disappointment and yet neutrality, and Wesley's broken yet still there.
Yeah, and there's the respect at the end, like goodbye cadet, goodbye captain.
Yeah.
And I found it odd there was no scene with Crusher, like Beverly. I would like to see her reaction to all this. But, you know.
Well, unfortunately, there is often more an arc between the male role models than mum and son, because you assume they love each other. You assume what Beverly will say. This is a more interesting developmental arc.
Yeah.
Because they've started at the, "You're in my chair, damn it," to this, versus Beverly, "I've always loved you. I still love you." Where are you going from there?
You're an idiot, but I still love you.
Well, yeah. Have you got your sandwich I packed? Mom.
Yeah. Well, Ray Ricks throws in 2 pounds. Jean Hajar was there in this episode. That's it.
Yes, the lady who I said should have said more. Yes, she was.
Yeah.
That's her name? Jean, okay. Played by Walker Brandit. Which is her name? Walker? First name Walker. Do you know any Walkers?
I know a lot of people last name Walker.
Yeah, I suppose. She is currently... What did she do after this? She
wasn't in Lower Decks. She didn't return for that.
She had a very acting face, though. I liked her vibe. Just with some dialogue. I'll imagine if she's like a giant TNG fan. She's like, God damn it, my co-host got brought back twice! I was at episode 2. I had the same arc as her. Damn it.
I think she was asked to come back for Lower Decks and didn't. So they had the scene of her running away from the group at the beginning when Mariner approached. Because she was there, but not.
Would have been cool to see them all.
Yeah.
And guys, keep voting in the poll. We have 39 votes. We'd love to get 40, which is just one more. Maybe you can sway the vote and change the outlook, maybe. Fair enough. But yeah, that ends on a... It is a dour note. There's no happy ending here. It's just not as dark an ending as it could be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, guys. Hit that like button. Super chat in. This is your chance. We're going to give our final scores and final thoughts on this episode. And it's your chance to do the same. Super chat in your scores out of 10. I will read those after we are done our closing arguments. And if you just put your score in the regular chat, Sam will read those afterwards. But we would like a little bit of some super chat solidarity at the end here with the votes or the scores, because I think it's important. I want to see colorful scores and hear your thoughts.
Even at 1.
Yeah.
So, Stuart, what do you think of Season 5, Episode 19 of Final Duty? And has your opinion changed given our 1 hour and 27 minutes scene by scene, even shot by shot breakdown in some respects. What do you think?
I think my opinion's changed. This is one that is very memorable, mainly because it's like, hey, that's Tom Paris. And it's weird kind of thinking of that context after the fact. And now with the Lower Decks tie-in as well, I mean, there's a lot to look at here. I got a little bit of a deeper sense watching it this time. Like, there's more to it now. It's a much richer tapestry, as it were, and that was nice. But our discussion didn't really jostle anything loose for me. It's just a good episode. It's a good, solid episode, and it could have been fleshed out a lot more with more conversations, more actually finding out exactly what did happen, what Josh did that maybe caused the accident would have been nice. But again, don't need that necessarily. And yeah, I mean, we got a glimpse of Starfleet Academy. Get to see new uniforms. Get to see kind of like how things work there, and it was quite interesting. Picard, I mean, Patrick Stewart was so on point in this one. It's great. Everybody else, like Riker, Worf, Troy, even Picard, or even Jordie and Data to some degree, are just not in it. This is not about them, and that's fine. And even the Jordie and Data scenes were
appropriately flat.
Yes. I was wondering how I was going to word that, but yes, you're absolutely right. So I mean, it is one of my favorite episodes of TNG, and now for multiple more reasons, stacked on to the original reasons, and yeah, I really thought we might have more to talk about during it. It's kind of one of those.
Like, I threw a lot of bits in, but
yeah.
I really delved into some emotional stuff that isn't as important. Yeah.
I just remember watching it for this, and I'm like, we're gonna have a lot to talk about with this one, and we did, but still not as much as I thought we would have. So anyway,
so this season, all of TNG. To remind you of this season, because we haven't done it back to back: Redemption Part 2, Darmok, Ensign Rowe, Silicon Avatar, Disaster, The Game, Unification 1 and 2, yep, still that season, Matter of Time, New Ground, Hero Worship, etc., 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 etc.
All right, so for this season, I'm going to have to give this one a 9.1 out of 10. For all of TNG, 8.8. I think this is, especially, and as far as Wesley episodes go, this is like right up there. So if we're just scoring Wesley episodes, it'd be higher. But yeah, I think those scores are appropriate. So. How about you? What did you think of our discussion, and what's your score?
Yeah, it's interesting. The scenes are both simple, but it's the kind of the acting that pulls it through. I still maintain they needed more music. Just to add a bit more to some of the scenes, because they are flat. I like good dialogue. I mean, the dialogue's well written, the acting is well done, but the scenes do, over half of them, feel quite flat, especially as the rooms are all drab grey Starfleetian rooms. Luckily, the uniforms are popping and they're great. So it's an interesting one because it's a great subject matter. The acting's great. It could have been a lot better with very minor changes, and I certainly would have changed some of the focus points. Like if this had been made, say, in the Voyager era, meaning, I guess, 6 years later, I would have actually seen the event at the start in a full CG sequence to really feel the moment, and then cut to the trial. Wesley's like, so you see the explosion, then suddenly Wesley's like in the trial, and Picard says, "Mr. Crusher, can you hear me?" "Sorry, Captain." You're straight in the trial, like zip past the initial bit to give us minutes, and then have and really change the focus, make it more about the team. Maybe even you see all their perspectives. You build one cockpit, you see all 4 people. You really meet Josh. I think that was a tremendous missed opportunity to meet him low decks, but that's neither here nor there here. But the dad was a great allegory for him, so it's fine. Well, I like trial episodes in general, but it does. As at the start, it's worse because Wesley's arc means nothing in the grand scheme. He never Starfleets. He never goes anywhere. But the Locarno stuff is such a stronger because he does go somewhere. So it's an amazing rebalance of the episode in terms of legacy factor. Mm-hmm. Gosh, score-wise, it's not fun, but it's not meant to be. The acting's good, but it's weird. It's well written, but it's flat. Hard to judge.
Yeah.
Gosh. I am going to say for this season, I'm going to give it a strong 8. This season has not been the strongest. We've been through it before. For all TNG, I'm going to give it a 7.3 because it is missing a lot of those fun Star Trek-isms that I like. And it could have been a lot better without much difficulty, but, you know, still high-ish. But you can skip it and not lose much, or you can watch and appreciate a very unusual Starfleet's in the Wrong drama. Yeah.
Well, before I get to the super chat score we have, I want to read General Grievous's comment.
Yes.
I have a thought on it. My guess is since they had to use emergency transporters and venting and igniting plasma is dangerous, and went up the plasma trail into the engine and went boom like a flame to a trail of gunpowder. Here's the thing. I think they were practicing the maneuver. They weren't actually going to ignite the plasma. They were practicing toggling the vents open and stuff, because if they had done the starburst in training, somebody would have likely seen it, and it would have given it away for the commencement. I think they were saving the final firing of it till the commencement. So I don't think that's what caused the explosion. I think it was just a matter of they were going through the motions of doing all the procedures for it, so that when they finally did it on commencement day, they would just do that final step and ignite the plasma. Because that thought crossed my mind many times watching this episode. Like, if they had just done the starburst maneuver, it's pretty spectacular. Somebody would have seen it, or that satellite would have got a picture of it, or something. You would think if there's any kind of anomaly in the solar system, sensor things would start going off and get recording it. And it might be small in the grand scheme of things because they were far away, but it would still be pretty spectacular and draw attention to themselves. So I don't know if they were necessarily going to fire it off. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, the episode gets muddy because Picard shows you the recreation, which is the same rough graphics as the other actual footage. Because, yes, I don't... You know, you forget in context, this was for the event that has happening in a week when they graduate. So they're not going to do the trick, because the trick is for the thing.
Because the maneuver is not allowed. So if anybody had seen it beforehand,
well, no,
like,
it's not even that. All their flight recorders are going to show it.
That too, yes, yeah.
Like they're going to get caught. I guess you could argue that they can't even try the maneuver. Therefore, they're going to erase them either way. I guess you should argue that. But I didn't get the sense they were going to do the full burn. I was assuming they were going to do everything but.
Yeah.
And keep testing that a few times, because it's the impact. It's the fact when because the maneuver they come together and then break apart. So it's the together bit where they're so close because it's the collision that did it, not the ignition. Because they haven't got proper shielding, a very fast collision of 5. Because there was like a one to another and then an explosion. Yeah, it wasn't a fireball, because certainly that would have been in someone's records. It doesn't take much to blow up a ship if you haven't got shields, let's be honest. That's what shields are for. Yeah.
So, Ray Ricks throws in £2. It says an 8.5 out of 10. Great episode for Will Wheaton. Yes, 100%.
It would have been good to have a follow-up, though. Like a proper Starfleet follow-up. Especially as you felt they almost signposted. He's at the academy still. He's got one more year. We've got the set. We've got Boothby. We can go back and see him again. That's why I felt like watching an episode that season 7 or 6 have an academy episode again, and then 7 moves back on the Enterprise, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I thought they were going to do, but they don't. Obviously, They kind of do, but they mostly don't. All right, non-super chat scores. What do you all think? There is a lack of reviews, guys. So 29 people, put in your score. So, DVB, I liked that it was a real life. It was very real life and very relatable. Something Trek struggles with sometimes, plus great added lore. Yes, it was very relatable, very much so. Aussie 9.7. Mum gives it a 9.9.
We've got to read DVB's score.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. You read everything but the score.
Thought I did. In my head I did. Dan, 4 out of 10.
Wow.
The reverse Donny. Joseph, 8.6 out of 10. And yes, Tom Paris, of course. General Group is 8.9. That's in non-super scores.
We usually have so many more.
Yeah, you guys are asleep.
We're boring. It's fine.
Wow, the episode. Like I said, the episode, it's one of those things where it could be a lot better. With a bit more money and a bit more pace. Perfectly good as it is. Could have been a bit more. And if it was made in, like, for Voyager... God, if this had been made as a DS9 episode... way darker. But they could have done a lot more, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I felt they'd cram more in... Dan, yeah. I felt they'd cram more in DS9 episodes. But it's just so good to see Earth, you know? Just really... it's very refreshing. I like seeing Earth in the future. It's nice.
And Ray Ricks, £5. Did they just expect people to be, that's cool, and not boot them out for the academy after graduation? Well, they make a point of saying that, actually. Like, Locarno would go down in history, or be like, people would be amazed by it and the fact that they pulled it off. They might get in a little bit of trouble, but yeah, they kind of mention it a little bit. I don't think they're going to be like, well, you've graduated. That was a fantastic commencement ceremony. That finale was awesome. You're fired. I don't know. I don't know how that would play out, because I've thought the same thing too. Like, you're still going to get in trouble for this. It's a banned, maneuver. But if you pull it off successfully and it's spectacular, Picard said it. He said Locarno would go down as a living legend.
Point.
Oh, it is. It is, absolutely. But I mean, they kind of addressed it somewhat with what Picard said about Locarno would go down as a living legend at the academy and blah blah blah. It's like I don't know if that's necessarily true, Picard, but yeah.
Well, maybe he's hoping it'd go well. He'd get thrown out. It'd be some flight group would sponsor him. He'd get to build a new team called Nova Fleet, and he'd build a giant team and Genesis all over it. Yeah, I mean, people let things slide, right? I feel like it would be one of those things where it's been 100 years. The Admiralty would say, well, it has been 100 years. Tech has improved. I guess it's safe now. We should re-look into that problem, that rule, versus banned it for a reason. It's now super banned, is what's going to happen. Because 100 years is pre-Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff's different.
Well, ish, yeah.
I'm pretty
around
sure
Kirk's now. Yeah.
That's a long... I was kind of surprised how long ago that was. You'd think someone else would try it. Because that's generations of officers.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. There you go. Do you want to tease our weekend episodes, Stuart? Our ship?
Adventure class?
I don't know, you try it.
Let me take a look.
As of course, Stuart, with the audience, we have a ship. We always have ships on Saturdays. Didn't you know?
Yeah, Adventure class, one of the Star Trek Online ships. So check that out on Saturday.
I believe I called it in our review the Not Galaxy.
Yeah.
And it was very
similar-ish.
Well, yeah, but it's trying hard to not be a galaxy while being a galaxy. It's
Yep.
It's like when I did my Bird of Prey for Avalon. It's like it's got to be a Bird of Prey, but also so original yet so the same. It's a tricky thing to do. And it's very, very good when we get to the comparison with the actual galaxy. They're really interesting comparison renders that are kind of hard to get. Or like at the same lighting, I should say. That was quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. So check that out on the weekend, guys.
Ooh, yeah, read John Groos's. He's a great reference there.
I agree, Sam. I think he thought if they pulled it off, he'd get a commendation for original thinking and a slap on the wrist like Kirk with the Kobayashi Maru.
Coke,
Yeah.
rule. Exactly. That's an extremely good comparison. Yeah. Nicely said.
Yep.
And
PvP says if it works out, it's like Maverick buzzing the tower. Technically illegal, but shows skill. Yeah, but you watch any Navy pilot review that movie and that scene, he wouldn't be flying again after that. At least the first one in training.
Did you hear the music? It's so inspiring when he does it. You know he's fine.
The last one at the end after the battle,
That's a victory lap, yeah.
it's that's questionable, but yeah.
You saved the world, fired. What? You buzzed a tower! Jesus. But to finish the poll, should Wesley have spilled the beans or kept their secret and graduated? 44 votes. Stuart, 93% agree with the ending. 7% are with you, Stuart.
Fair enough. So, yeah, come back next week as well, guys. We should have a live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but I'm pretty sure my Tuesday might be out right now.
Oh dear.
So, but I'll let you guys. Well, you guys will know next week.
We'll be there or not there.
Yeah. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. It's been awesome. Love doing these TNG reviews and getting back into TNG. It's really fun. So, thank you for participating. So, until next time. That guy right there.
And that guy right there. Wesley.
Well, he's Commander Cockings right
Instead
there.
of Foley. There's
Yep.
Cadet Wesley.
Yeah. Yeah.